The Farewell is one of those movies that I will mention in the future when I defend that for the most our life is an unpredictable film, with twists and failures on the writing that we can't understand how and who the hell wrote it. Life is the biggest twisty script that exists, and quite often in my life I engaged in conversations with people about this comparison. And from time to time, someone says to me that I'm crazy and I shouldn't be watching this many movies. I understand the reaction, but I also think that some people are afraid of thinking that way and choose to ignore it by trying to live their lives in a certain pattern. My advice to those people is don't try to control life, just live it and do the most of it according to what you like. Also, surround yourself by those you love, be it family or close friends, because their absence can happen at any time, and sometimes it's hard when you don't expect it to happen, and in other cases when you're preparing yourself for someone's departure. So basically, yeah, don't waste time. This film touched me in many ways, mostly because this story is based on real events. It's based on Lulu Wang's life events that directed and wrote this film. In my opinion, it's a remarkable achievement when you put something out there that has a meaning to you, and having the courage to share it with people is beautiful. Quite often, I tend to be skeptical about movies that are based on something real, mostly because when you write it, you need to carefully carry the story without overwhelming the viewer with exposition about why you wrote it. At least for me, that's an important factor, because it needs to come out as realistic as possible and naturally told story-wise. If you force the message at all cost, it might come out as too much cheesy and perhaps over-the-top melancholic. Now, this movie didn't have that issue, because even if it has a quote at the beginning saying, based on an actual lie, the film itself is really simple. A family member being diagnosed with terminal cancer, and the family never tells the person until she hits a certain point in his disease, in order to let her live without a burden. And I thought that was crushing and beautifully portrayed. A piece of storytelling about how a family deals with a long goodbye, trying to bring happiness in every last moment to its fullest, even if some of them are on the brink of falling apart. The cast for the film was really good, and the performances made the scenes feel naturally realistic. Most of the moments that I loved were when the characters are sitting at the table having dinner, just talking to each other. None of that feels scripted. I was lost for words, honestly, because of the amount of effort that was put in this simple narrative. Yes, you might think that this story uses a certain formula that you've seen before, but I honestly think that here feels unique. Now, I have a problem with the film. I said that it feels real, and it's cool to see the characters talking and doing simple stuff like cleaning the house, but at the middle of the movie, its pace just gets stuck, and not just until the film gets a lot better at the third act, I wasn't invested as much as the first minutes. There's a lot of runtime that could easily be cut, making this even a better film. The cinematography is really good. I'd say that the tone is a character itself, and the music really helps you feel some melancholic stuff, especially when the third act hits. Most of the shots are amazing, and the cuts to other scenes were brilliant. It was odd sometimes, but in a really refreshing way. This film was cool. It had its issues, but I totally recommend it to you. Pay attention to the simple details if you see it. I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. That's it. Let me know your thoughts on this one. If you like my content, subscribe for more reviews in the future. See ya, guys.